Guys, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to install this wastegate that I got on eBay from US Turbo Systems. This is a 33 pound billet wastegate, and we're going to go ahead and remove our stock one, which is right there. We're going to remove that guy. I already unbolted it, and I already took the pin out. I'll show you that in a minute, but we're basically going to swap that, and we're going to test this one versus the other one. Now, on the wastegate, let me see if I can show you. I don't know if you guys are going to see this, but there's two nuts behind here, behind the wastegate, one here and one over here somewhere. I can't really see, but hopefully you guys can see. There's one right there, and one on the other side. And then on the rod side right here, there was a retainer pin, and I used this little hook thing to kind of hook it and try to get it off. And then honestly, I don't know where it flew away. It's so tiny, it just bounced somewhere, probably in the engine valley. So I'll have to figure out and see what I can make to retain the new rod in place. So basically what we do is, after the retainer pin over here is off, you basically just kind of wiggle this thing off. It should come off, there you go, like that. And then after you got the two bolts off right here on the wastegate, it basically just slides out and you're good to go. Now here's a stock one versus the 33 pound billet one. Seems to be well made. The design, I'm sure, is pretty simple. You get pressure inside, there's a spring, and then the spring opens up, and then it pushes this rod out, which opens the wastegate. And the reason I have two is because I bought one, and the shipping one, and accidentally the shipping one used, and there was a bolt right here that's missing. So they shipped me another one. And if you guys want this, let me know in the comments. Just put 7.3 wastegate, if you have a 7.3 obviously, and I'll pick a winner probably on my next video, and I'll ship this out to you guys. I'll try to see if I can find this bolt right here. Basically, I'm going to try to see if I can get this out from this side, and then see if I can get a replacement in here. Honestly, I don't think it affects anything. But the reason they sent me out is because I showed them this, and that it seemed like it was installed maybe, and then somebody returned it. And the reason I'm gonna install the new one on my truck and not the used one and give away this one is because honestly, I want to be kind of honest with the company. If they send me a new one, I'll install the new one, and I'll give away this one, supposedly broken one, used one. So that way the company's not gonna say, hey, we send you a new one, why don't you install the new one, why did you give it away, blah blah blah. So I don't want to have any issues with that. So that's why I'm going to install the one they send me, the replacement, and then I'm going to give away this one. So it still works. I tested it, it seems to be working just fine. Here's another thing with this wastegate. They send you two little attachments, one with a smaller hole, one with a bigger hole. However, on the stock one, as you can see, the hole is little, so it's bigger than this one. The hole is the same as this one because they send you two of these, but when you put this one on, it's too thick. So it's almost twice as thick. So when you put this one on, the retainer clip does not fit on top because this is too thick, and this goes on there just perfectly, and then the retainer clip slides right on top of there and it holds it in place. But because this is too thick, the retainer clip will not retain this in place. So what I end up doing on my other one is I drilled the hole even bigger, because that little lever has a kind of like a two-step. Let me show you that real quick. So if you guys can see, it has a thin side and a thicker side. So the thin side will fit on top, but the retainer clip would not fit now. So what I end up doing is drilling a bigger hole to fit on this bigger section right here. So now it sits down a little bit lower, and then I'm gonna use a washer on top and then a retainer clip on top of that. So that's gonna hold everything in place. And since my retainer clip kind of flew away somewhere, no idea where, I kind of tried making my own right there. For now it'll work, but I suggest you get a few retainer clips from, I don't know, Napa or AutoZone, whatever. But for now this will work, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this and then put a washer on top and then retainer clip on top of that, because with that bigger hole the retainer clip is just gonna slide right through. Alright, so now let's go ahead and test these guys out and see at what PSI they start moving. I got my little pressure gauge right here, made a little connector for the wastegate, and let's plug this guy in here and kind of watch. I drew a line right there. You guys can see that blue line on here. So let's keep an eye on that and see at what PSI it starts moving. So it's moving around 6 PSI, 5 PSI, 3 PSI even. Look at that, 3 PSI, and it's already pretty much halfway open. This is full right here. So let's get, so 3 PSI, 4 PSI, it starts moving it. But halfway about, so about 9, 10 PSI, it opens about halfway. Let's see, let's get to full. And about 21 PSI, 22 PSI, it opens the thing completely. So let's say 3 PSI, around 3 PSI. I mean, maybe even less, maybe 2 PSI. But yeah, so we got a, let's say 3 PSI, it opens it, starts opening it barely. We get about 10 PSI at half. So we got 3, 10, and 22. So we got 3 opening, it starts opening at about 3 PSI, 10 PSI, we're about a half, and a 22 that's already fully open. Now let's compare that to this 33-pound wastegate. All right, now let's go ahead and check this one and see what we're gonna get. So on here I put 3 PSI, I kind of moved it about 10% because it was just kind of wobbling around. So let's just say 3 PSI opens about 10%. So let's see what this one opens at. So it looks like at 18 PSI, it starts opening it about 10%. Let's do it again real quick. Yeah, about 18 PSI. So let's do 50%. Let's see how many PSI we'll get it to 50. Okay, so 29 PSI opens it at 50. That's quite a bit. And then to get it fully open, is at 40 PSI. So that's a bit high. Why am I putting percent over here? That's not percent, that's PSI, just so you know. I'm sure there's going to be some resistance and some loss when it's on the truck and on the turbo. But let's see how much I can pull out by hand. So I can do about 75%. Yeah, okay. And this one, about 25%. I can barely put about 25%. So there's a lot of, there's going to be a lot of, it's going to need a lot of pressure to open this guy. So I guess let's install it and see what we get. Hopefully my custom baby retainer clip works, and we'll do some testing and see where we can get our truck to. Alright, well, the install is going to be pretty simple, straightforward. Same way you take it out, same way it goes in. You put the wastegate into the holes first, and then you connect the rod right here. See, like I need to, here we go. You don't want to tighten this nut right here just yet. You want to make sure this goes on there. Okay, so, okay, we're good on that. Now we're going to put our washer right here. Little washer on there, little washer spacer. And then we're going to try installing our retainer pin. Now this one's I'm a little worried about this one. Just so I don't lose it, maybe this tip is going to be good for you guys. Maybe shove some paper towels and some towels in there. Maybe this way, if it falls, at least it's going to be hopefully on the towel right here. Now putting this guy on, it's going to be a little tricky. I'm sure it's not going to just slide on there that easy. I'm going to need to push it with something. I think it's on there. Okay, yeah, I think it's on there. All right, and the nuts on the back, you just kind of put them on with two hands while left hand is holding it in place, the right hand is tightening in place. That makes it a lot easier. I'm basically just laying on top of my engine, and they're on. Okay, so that's good, that's good. And then I used some towels on the bottom in case one of them does fall, it's gonna catch it. And then I got my little tool right here, 10mm with a swivel and extension. And then we're gonna go ahead and tighten it. It's kind of a pain in the butt to get it there, get in there with the ratchet, but this one seems to be working a little bit better in this area. And we got the back one. Let's see if we can squeeze it in there. Okay, so that's good. And then the top one. Alright, that's good. And we'll get the red line, vacuum line connected. That's good, that's done. Alright, and there she is installed. Now if you guys remember, I did that test when I disconnected the vacuum line from my stock wastegate, and we got like 24, just barely touching 25 psi. So let's see what this guy does. And I did not get overboost code when I did the stock wastegate disconnected. So we'll see what happens with this one. All right, let's see what we're gonna get in third gear right now. 22 psi. That's kind of weird. I mean, I'm not complaining. I don't want it to be too high. Looks like 23 is probably max. I don't know why not higher, but it is what it is. So yeah guys, looks like 23 psi is probably the most we're gonna get out of this. I don't know why it doesn't go any higher, because when we did the testing and we saw that it needed about 10 psi to start moving barely, and about, what was it, like 20 psi about to open halfway, and to fully open it was about 40 psi. So we saw that it needs a lot of pressure to open the wastegate, and in this case it didn't go more than about 23 psi. So I'm guessing it opens it enough to release the turbo pressure and it doesn't go any higher, which is kind of good because you don't want to push the turbo too far. You don't want to run it more than 20. You don't want to run it at 25 psi all the time, and because the turbo probably doesn't spool up as fast as aftermarket turbos, and the wheel is stock, so it doesn't spool up as fast. So it's not able to go higher because it probably dumps all that the pressure before it can actually build up more. So in a way that's good. Actually, I'm kind of happy with that it's set at 22, 23. That's probably the maximum. And here I am cruising about 70 miles per hour, and we are at about 5 psi right now. Let's see what happens if I step on the gas pedal. So yeah, that's pretty good. So it gets to about 20 psi fairly easily, and it went from 70 to 80. So yeah, pretty happy with it. No engine light code yet. Hopefully I'm not gonna get one later. So I hope you guys enjoyed this install, this little testing, so you guys can see the stock versus aftermarket wastegates and so on and so forth. And it's not that hard of an install. It's just kind of awkward to get in there. So, but it takes maybe 30 minutes tops, maybe even less. Because yesterday I did it in about 15 minutes, but I was just kind of flopping things around and things were flying, like the retainer pin. I lost the nut there as well. So if you take your time, just do it right, 30 minutes tops. It's pretty easy to do. It's not that hard. And yeah, I'm not even going to bother doing any kind of performance testing, 10 to 60, 30 to 70, all that stuff. Especially right now, there's too many cars out, and I don't want to do it after work, honestly. I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference because I already did the testing with the wastegate disconnected, so we saw what it did with more boost. I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe if I feel like it, I'll do it later, but right now I don't want to. I'm sure you guys are bored with all those tests. It's all kind of the same and nothing too exciting. But maybe if I feel like it, I'll do it later and show you guys the results. I'll show you guys the results if there's any kind of improvement, but I don't think there's going to be anything better until I actually start doing other mods like the tuner, turbo wheel, injectors, so on and so forth, which I don't want to do injectors. Maybe a turbo wheel after I do a tuner, but for now that'll be it. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. See ya.